What is up, though, Lions fans? We are back. Just as always, it's the Motor City Cats back at it. Came to give you stats, not static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. We got some surprising news to get into today. I don't know that it's surprising because you guys probably already know about it, but it was just surprising to me. And then we're going to get into this news, and we're going to go a little bit around the NFL, especially talking about a game that is going on right now, which is absolutely bonkers. It's bananas, and it actually kind of goes into some of the discussion and the debate that we were having yesterday right here on this channel. If you didn't see it, you're going to have to go back and watch it. The stream is up on the channel. That's not one that I really could cut up. It was very spirited, and people had a lot of opinions. So we'll touch on some of those things again here today. However, first things first, let's talk about this situation with David Long Jr. Now, David Long Jr., as you know, was claimed or was signed off of the Miami Dolphins practice squad, I believe it was, after Alex Anzalone broke his forearm. Now, David Long's production wasn't really coming through on the stat sheet. You know, he was good in run support. He was good at filling gaps. But in 5 games, he only had 7 tackles. So he wasn't really doing a whole lot that you could see, that you could measure. But I felt like he did create a presence on the team. I felt like he did do a lot of things well. And he also gave you a boost on special teams. I think he played, let me see. I've got the number of stats here, but I had it before. Basically, something like 70 snaps on defense in the 5 games that he was here, and another 45 on special teams. So I thought that was good enough for him to remain on the Detroit Lions, especially with Alex Anzalone's practice clock not starting yet. Dan Campbell has been on record, or gone on record, as saying he doesn't know if we're talking about this week that the practice clock will start. It could be next week. Now, the only thing that I would say is, if this practice clock is going to be starting next week, look at it to be something like the iffy practice clock, which actually has started twice. But when it started this past week, it was full go. It was full practice. It was every day. There were no setbacks. He was activated off of IR, and then he was made questionable to play in the game against the Bears. And sure enough, he was in on the first play, getting pressure on Caleb Williams. So that's the only thing that I would say. If you could look at Alex Anzalone's practice clock, I've heard that Alex Anzalone is maybe having a few issues with the mental part of his rehab. Physically, what's supposed to happen for him is he's supposed to be able to just put that thing in a cast, and he's full go. But like I said, it's just the mental thing that he's been dealing with. What up, though? If you are in the chat, make sure you pop in, say what up, though. Subscribe. You only have to be a subscriber for 60 seconds for you to be able to pop in the chat, say what up, though, and have your opinion be heard. Because if you know anything about this channel, we do like to talk to the chat. And we had, like I said, a very spirited debate yesterday. I think I was on for damn near 3 hours yesterday when we were getting into this debate about mobile quarterbacks and things of this nature. So again, David Long Jr. has been released by the Detroit Lions, and also coming Uh, Not really as a surprise, he didn't clear waivers. I don't know if this was what they wanted to do. They wanted to go ahead and just put him back on the practice squad and maybe make him, inactive for the game that's coming up against the San Francisco 49ers, or maybe they would have brought him back up, elevated him from the practice squad again. I don't know. But that plan, if it was a plan, is not going to go through because David Long Jr. has been reunited with a former team of his, not the Miami Dolphins, but the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans claimed him off of waivers today, making him no longer available to the Detroit Lions. So again, I don't know what it was about. I don't know exactly why he was released. Was the production crazy? No, the production wasn't crazy. Like I said, he had 7 tackles in 5 games, and I don't think that's including. That might even be including his special teams tackles. But I thought and I felt that with the injuries that we have, that was a move that, look, Quan Alexander is still on the team. Quan Alexander was inactive last week. Jamal Adams is still on the team. Jamal Adams last week was practicing with the DBs. He was not inactive, but I don't know that he played unless he played on special teams. So I just thought David Long Jr. being released was kind of weird for this team to do it, and at the time that they did it. So I'm only guessing. I'm only speculating. Maybe we see Alex Anzalone against the Vikings. Hopefully we don't need to see him against the Vikings, right? Hopefully we don't need any extra linebackers during the game against the San Francisco 49ers. But I just thought it was weird for David Long Jr. to be released at the time that he was released. So now, let's get some Lions news and rumors. Shout out to Waymo for finally going on the St. Brown Brothers podcast. I have not had an opportunity to watch the episode in full, but definitely that's been the most requested guest for probably a year now. And Waymo finally sat down with the St. Brown Brothers and talked about whatever he talked about, right? Like I said, I don't have any updates about it, but I definitely will be getting into it a little bit later. So based off of the speculation of Alex Anzalone, we've got some news from Dan Campbell giving us an update. So this is from the Sporting News. It says the Detroit Lions have been ravaged by injuries on the defensive side of the ball in 2024, and the linebacker position has been one of the most plagued. One of the multiple linebackers to get hurt this year is starter Alex Anzalone. Anzalone suffered a broken forearm during the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars and was placed on injured reserve after. But with a 6 to 8 week timeline for his recovery, the expectation has been that Anzalone, who has been eligible to come off injured reserve for weeks now, will be back for the playoffs. But could he possibly be back before the postseason? Head coach Dan Campbell left the door open for that to happen recently. Here's the latest on the Lions linebackers' status. Alex Anzalone injury update. According to the Lions head coach Dan Campbell, Anzalone is close to returning, but it remains unclear if he'll be back for the Week 17 game against the San Francisco 49ers. He says it's close. I don't know about this week, but it's close, Campbell said, per Pride of Detroit's Jeremy Reisman. As far as Anzalone being back for the playoffs is concerned, NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reported that is indeed the expectation for the linebacker. Alex Anzalone, their playmaking linebacker, one of the better linebackers in the NFL. He has been out since midseason with a broken forearm. He, too, should be back for the playoffs, Rappaport said. While getting an Anzalone back sooner rather than later would be ideal, the Lions are not going to rush him back because the most important thing is to have Anzalone healthy for the postseason. Anzalone has to be designated to return from injured reserve first, something that has not happened yet. But even if he's designated to return to practice this week, that doesn't mean he's going to play. The Lions are getting healthy at linebacker at the perfect time, as Jalen Reeves-Maybin is also close. Unlike Anzalone, Reeves-Maybin has already been designated to return, and it's possible he's back in week 17. We'll see where Germ is at. He's somebody that's a potential candidate to return. Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Campbell said. We started him last week. He got a practice or two. We're going to give him more this week, and how he feels, where it's at. He is somebody that could potentially be brought up. Okay, there we go. The Lions still have to wrap up the division, but if the Minnesota Vikings win in week 17 before the Lions take the field on Monday night, Detroit's game against San Francisco will have no impact on that goal, and the NFC North will be decided in week 18 when the Vikings and Lions meet. However, if the Vikings lose in week 17 and the Lions win, Detroit will be the NFC North champion. So that's who I forgot about. I forgot about Germ. So with Germ coming back, then I guess that made David Long Jr. expendable. I still don't like the move, okay? I don't like it, and I know it's not up to me, right? However, if Jalen Reeves-Maybin comes back, obviously he's going to get the snaps that David Long would have gotten both on defense and special teams. However, again, just with so many injuries, man, you just want to have bodies at that position. And the only thing that they did in the corresponding move was that they re-signed Maurice Alexander, who they waived last week, and who wasn't really missed at the returner position. I think Vaki and Craig were back there. Tom Kennedy was returning punts. He didn't do much, right? But it was just a guy that needed to be back there and to securely catch the football. And that's more than we can say for Maurice Alexander. He has had some issues with some drops. We saw it in the preseason. And then now when he gets into a regular season game and he has to catch a punt, you're holding your breath every single time. If he's able to catch it and return it, yes, he's a dynamic return man, but securing the ball is the most important. I don't care if you get 5 yards on a return or if you get 50. If you're a risk for dropping the ball on a punt, muffing the punt, and giving the ball back to the other team, that's not what I want to see. I don't want to see that. So, I don't know. David Long Jr. for basically Jalen Reeves-Maybin and Maurice Alexander. Obviously, the Jalen Reeves-Maybin move is, he's higher on the depth chart than a David Long would be. But the Maurice Alexander, do you need a competent linebacker, or do you need a return man who, again, it's a 50-50 proposition for everyone to catch the ball, but more so with him. So I don't know. Wasn't high on the move. Not really sure what's going on with that. All right. Now, the other thing that I wanted to touch on, yesterday we had, like I said, a spirited debate. It was a lot of fun. There were a lot of opinions being thrown around about quarterback play in the NFL and where it is going. As we sat here and we watched the Kansas City Chiefs take care of the Pittsburgh Steelers today, earlier, and we're sitting here now and watching Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens take care, literally, utterly, completely demolishing the Houston Texans. We have to ask ourselves, is the time for the quarterback to be less of a playmaker over? I don't think it's completely over. But as I detailed yesterday, every team, aside from the Lions, has a quarterback which you would consider somewhat mobile. Now, Jared Goff's got his Vanilla Vic thing going on this year. Speaking of Vic, Lamar Jackson passed Vic today. Broke his record for all-time rushes from a quarterback. Lamar Jackson is having an MVP season. The only reason that people don't want Lamar Jackson to win the MVP is because they're tired of Lamar Jackson winning the MVP. He's won it back-to-back. So now you're looking at someone repeating 3 times as the MVP. Lamar Jackson has 39 passing touchdowns, 40-plus total touchdowns. Lamar Jackson in this game has 73 yards on the ground on 2 carries. 2 carries, 73 yards. A 48-yarder, which was his first one, and then a 25-yard touchdown run. Outran the entire defense. What are the numbers? Okay, what are the numbers? Let's look at Joe Burrow, because I think he's the one that we're looking at as someone or as the one who is above Lamar Jackson in passing touchdowns. So what are the numbers for Joe Burrow? He has 39 touchdowns. Okay? He's got 39. So does Lamar Jackson. Joe Burrow has 8 interceptions. Lamar Jackson has 4. I mean, he's tied for the lead league in touchdown passes. And he is, I think, second in yards. Joe Burrow has 42-29. How many does Lamar Jackson have aside from tonight? Because I don't know how much he has tonight. And I think he's done for the day. We saw him just go back to the locker room. He has 37-87. Okay? So, yes, he is, well, coming into this game, he was like 450 yards behind Joe Burrow in passing yards. But then again, Lamar Jackson, you have to put in the rush yards. You have to look at his total yards. When you look at his touchdowns, you have to look at his total touchdowns. Like I said, he has 4 interceptions. What are his rushing stats? Let me see. What are his rushing yards? All right. Let me see if we can get that for you right now. Lamar Jackson right now has 168 passing yards on 66.7 completion. He is interacting with the crowd. He is slapping fives. The damn score is 31-2. He's giving away hats, gloves, Lamar Jackson merch to little kids in the stands. He's out. He's done. He's not playing anymore. Okay, so he had 168 yards this game, 66.7% completions, 2 touchdowns, and a touchdown on the ground. Okay, that's it for him today. Now let's see if I can get his season stats for rushing. All right, let's see. We got his pass attempts. Rushing. All right. So, his rushing numbers today This season, 765 rushing yards. Okay? So you add on top of what he did today in passing, and then you add his rushing yards. That's an extra damn near 1,000 yards. If you're in the chat, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Come on through. Say what up, though. Share the stream. Let everybody know what's going on around here. Look, man. If you're telling me that your quarterback should stay in the pocket, if you're telling me that you don't want your quarterback to get hit, that's fine. I understand that you don't want your quarterback to get hit. I'm going to say this, and it's a bold proclamation as a Detroit Lions content creator. My favorite quarterback in the NFL outside of Jared Goff is Lamar Jackson. My favorite quarterback outside of Jared Goff in the NFL is Lamar Jackson. My favorite quarterback to watch as just box office entertainment factor alone is going to be Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has, 4.2, 4.3 speed, right? You saw him on the 25-yard touchdown just completely outpace the entire defense. The entire defense. He ran through the hole and ran past all of the defense. There was no defense left to catch him. There was no defense left to make any attempts at making any plays. There was a safety that thought he had an angle, and he just looked at him as he glid by him. It's like if Jahmyr Gibbs was a quarterback. It's like if Waymo was a quarterback. And like I said, his evolution as a quarterback, okay, he's got 87 yards today. Okay? He set the all-time NFL QB rushing record. He's got 87 rushing yards, I think, on 3 carries. Okay? His evolution as a quarterback is something, as a passer is something that he went to his head coach, John Harbaugh, and said, this is something I'm ready to do. This is something I want to do. I want to get better. He only has, and I say only, okay, he only has 763 rushing yards this season. Lamar Jackson has gone over 1,000 yards rushing in how many of his seasons? Let's see. In 2018, which was his first year, he was 695, but he didn't start. All right. 2019, 1206. 2020, 1005. Okay. And then 767, 764, 821, 765 right now. Okay. So this is about par for the course. Right? It's about par for the course. Right now he has 3,955 passing yards, 852 rushing yards, and 43 total touchdowns. He's ahead of Josh Allen by 400 yards. Passing. The time to not give Lamar Jackson his flop. Like, everyone is talking to you about Josh Allen as the MVP. He's got the MVP locked up. How? How? This game is over. They're 11-5. They're 11-5. Yes, whatchamacallit, Josh Allen is going to take you to probably 13 or probably 14-3. Right? Because they have a terribly easy schedule the rest of the way. I think they got the Jets and the Patriots. Right? They just almost lost to the Patriots. That's not going to happen the next time they play the Patriots. They got to play the Jets this week, and we know who the Jets are. Okay. So we know who these people are. That's all I'm saying. The only way that Lamar Jackson does not win, okay, because again, they have to win next week. The Baltimore Ravens have to win next week to clinch the division. And they've gotten this opportunity by helping the Pittsburgh Steelers go on a 4-game losing streak. They helped because last week they doubled up the Pittsburgh Steelers just like we doubled up the Chicago Bears. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers lost very handedly to the Kansas City Chiefs, who, hey, they look like they put it all together today, and Chris Jones didn't play in the game. They looked like they put it all together. So I don't want to play the Baltimore Ravens in the Super Bowl. Their defense has gotten it together. The Houston Texans have 2 points, y'all. 2. And you know if they got 2 points, it had nothing to do with their offense. It had everything to do with their defense, their special teams and their defense. Special teams pinned them down at the 3-yard line. Derrick Henry tried to kind of angle around to run backwards and then run forwards out of the end zone. Didn't happen. Didn't work. Okay? But the Houston Texans have not been able to do much of anything. On offense, nothing. At the tail end of the third quarter, the Houston Texans in the half had 3 yards, while Baltimore had 108. I'm just saying. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, especially about this quarterback debate. Lamar Jackson is him, bro. That's all I can say. And I don't think it's particularly close when we're talking about the MVP. I don't. I really don't. More Lions news. And this is becoming a little bit unsettling. Multiple Chicago Bears podcasts have been basically feeling as though Ben Johnson is a shoo-in to go and become the next head coach of the Chicago Bears. So let's look at what they're saying. It says Lions coach a top candidate for rival teams' head coaching vacancy as a report. And this is from posted on Last Word of Sports by Sue Levine. Okay, it says first, Lions, Aaron Glenn, a top candidate for the Saints head coaching job. And this is talking about the Saints are not a rival. The Saints are not a rival. However, the Chicago Bears, like I said, they feel like it's a foregone conclusion. They're looking at the things that Ben Johnson said about the ball whistles by you when you're talking about Caleb Williams and the way that he passes the ball and all these things. Let me know in the chat. For those of you that haven't popped in and said what up, though, for those of you that hadn't popped in and said anything, let me know in the chat what your feelings are about Ben Johnson not just leaving, but going to the Chicago Bears. CJ Stroud is out of the game. It is 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. He is on the bench. Davis Mills has gone in. CJ Stroud is just sitting there staring off into space. And that's another conversation that we can have. But if I can get you guys to let me know in the chat, what are your feelings about Ben Johnson potentially going to become the head coach of the Chicago Bears in the division? Now, we talked about this yesterday a little bit. We touched on it a little bit. But what I want to touch on a little bit more is generally when coaches leave, especially coordinators, they like to take somebody with them. The name that I've been hearing mostly, and I think the name that brings the most amount of fear for me, is not just Ben Johnson leaving and going to the Chicago Bears and becoming the next coach there. It is Hank Fraley, who may be an offensive coordinator, may be an assistant coach, whatever the case may be. If you guys don't know who Hank Fraley is, I'm pretty sure you do if you're watching this podcast right now. But even if you don't, Hank Fraley is the Detroit Lions offensive line coach. I believe that Hank Fraley is the best offensive line coach in football, and he is a very large part of the reason that we have the best offensive line in football. Not just because we have Penei Sewell, Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker, Kevin Zeitler, who I don't know if he'll be back because he's a little bit long in the tooth. Even though he's been playing lights out, obviously there's been a little bit of a struggle these last few weeks with the offensive line not playing up to or not performing up to their standards and what they're able to do. But Hank Fraley is a huge part of the reason that we have the number one offensive line in the league, that we have the number one, I believe, rushing attack. Now, excuse me, if you want to debate that it's between us and Philly, well, damn. Okay. All right. Because Baltimore is crazy too. All right. So we have a top 3 rushing attack. All right. Because there's some other teams, Philly and Baltimore, out there doing numbers, running the football. And we know Baltimore is predicated on the run first. They're very run heavy, but then you got a quarterback that's running for damn near 1,000 yards and throwing for 4,000. So, I mean, that's, 5,000 yards of production from their quarterback and 43 total touchdowns. I mean, that sounds like MVP numbers to me, but I digress. If Hank Fraley and Ben Johnson leave, what does this offense look like going forward? The Ben Johnson thing, again, while it's bad, we do have a successor being trained, and everyone believes that's Tanner Engstrand. Now, for Ben Johnson to take Tanner Engstrand with him doesn't really make any sense, because if Ben Johnson is going to go and be a head coach, he's going to be a play-calling head coach. He's not just going to be out there, leader of men, in trying to, okay, I've designed an offense, now I'm going to give it to Tanner Engstrand to call the plays. No, I believe Ben Johnson is going to have all of the play-calling duties. I don't know if this is a scoregami. I feel like it's a scoregami. It was a scoregami at the half. 31-2 probably has never happened ever in the history of the NFL. 31-2 is almost worse than 31-0. I feel like 31-2 is almost worse than 31-0, because at some point it was 10-2. I think in this circumstance, not in all circumstances, right? This makes sense in all circumstances. But at some point, it was 10-2. And you felt like you just got a safety. And now you had the opportunity to drive down and actually tie the game. You were trailing. It was 10-0. Then it was 10-2. And now you had the opportunity. And then you lose 31-2. That is awful. That is awful. Kind of like cutting Houston to cut B. Joseph. Are we talking about the David Long thing? What's up though? Here's Johnny. Yeah, so back to what I was saying. I don't think that Ben Johnson would be taking Tanner Engstrand with him. So Hank Fraley is a coach that I don't know if we can afford to lose. He just means so much to this offensive line. He means so much to this running game. And the way that Hank Fraley and Ben Johnson work together to create this scheme, that is something that I don't know if we can afford to lose. Yes, we have Jahmyr Gibbs, who is probably easily already the third greatest running back in the history of the Detroit Lions. Brandon Joseph is not in my thumbnail. That's David Long. That's David Long Jr. But Ben Johnson is a guy that not Ben Johnson, but Hank Fraley is a guy that I don't know. I don't know if we can afford to lose him. I don't know what this running attack looks like without him. This is, promoting from within is fine. I don't know who the assistant offensive line coach is. And I guess we're going to have to do some research and find out what his name is, because as these rumors pick up steam, the Detroit Lions may lose both Ben Johnson and Hank Fraley to Chicago. I just, if I put on my fan hat, I don't understand it. I don't get how you can go like Ben Johnson. Listen to me. I know you don't watch my podcast. It's not big enough yet, but at some point, I hope it will be. And I hope I'll be able to influence people. So I want to talk to Ben Johnson right quick. Ben Johnson, if you're watching this, how dare you? How dare you, Ben Johnson? I know you were here, okay, before Dan Campbell got here, but I believe there was something that, a situation in which I think Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell were like on the same staff somewhere together, maybe even in New Orleans. Don't quote me. Miami, possibly. I think it was. Miami. So I think there was already like a working knowledge of who Ben Johnson was, which is that why they retained him, and then gave him the opportunity to not just be a tight ends coach, but to then be an offensive coordinator, and then to be able to propel himself at the helm of this offense. Top 3 to 5 offense the last 4 years. You parlay that into being the hottest candidate for head coaching vacancies in the NFL right now, and you would dare to accept an inter-division rival's head coaching job? Why, Ben Johnson? Why, Ben Johnson? I don't get it. I don't understand. Someone help me understand. I understand money. I do. I understand wanting to succeed at your job. I understand wanting to go to the best situation, but it's the Bears, Ben Johnson. It's the Bears. The Bears are what the Lions were during the era in which you came in the Quinn Trisha era, or era as I like to call it. That's what the Bears are. Do you really want to go back to that, Ben Johnson? Ben Johnson. Benny. Do you really want to go back to the Quinn Trisha era? Because the Chicago Bears want you to be their next head coach. At least media members do. I know there are several players that do. But their organization, their GM, their president, Kevin Warren, owners, okay, they can all say the right things. They can all tell you, okay, because what his situation is, you have to love I think the Baltimore Ravens have the same kind of culture that the Detroit Lions have. I really do. It's tight knit. Kansas City Chiefs, same situation. But listen, the Bears brass can say all the right things. They can tell you that they suck. They can tell you that they're wrong. They can tell you how bad that they've needed to be wrong, or how bad they've needed to change, and all the things that you want them to say. And they can admit to you. And they can say, this is how we're going to change things, this, that, and the third thing. But you can't trust them. You can't trust the Chicago Bears. You can't trust the Chicago Bears further than you can throw them. And that's not very far. I don't know, Ben. Here's Johnny says, wouldn't want to pay taxes there, to be honest. I wouldn't want to live there. I mean, they do have some fire pizza, but they're obviously, you could say the Detroit style pizza is better. George Pickens, bro. George Pickens is just constantly crashing out on the field. They're going to have to work with a psychiatrist or somebody to get him some help so that he can kind of deal with his emotions a little bit more in a better fashion, because he's just, again. All right, anyway. So yeah, Ben Johnson, I don't get what you're doing, man. Now, here's what I will say about Ben Johnson going to the Chicago Bears. When it doesn't happen, it is the all-time troll job by Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson should take the interview with the Chicago Bears. He should tell them how much they suck. He should get them to confess to their sins about how bad they've been, okay, and how wrong they've been for all these years. And then he should get them to detail their plan to fix it. And then he should take all of these things back to the Detroit Lions as a sleeper agent and go, here's their plans moving forward. This is what we have to combat. That's the only way that I can see Ben Johnson entertaining the Chicago Bears. Because other than that, it would be a colossal. Has it ever happened? Has it ever happened in the division, a coach who was a prominent coach, he is our offensive coordinator, right? AG going to New Orleans doesn't really make us any difference. Obviously, yeah, it's within the NFC, But we know he has ties in New Orleans. All of them do. They came from New Orleans. Dan Campbell and AG came from New Orleans together. So now if AG is the top candidate after New Orleans fired Dennis Allen in the middle of the season, if he's the top candidate in New Orleans, that's fine. No harm, no foul. And then you expect New Orleans to be a better football team than they are right now. He's going to go back to familiar confines. He's going to go back to familiar players. Alvin Kamara is still there. I think Cam Jordan is probably on his way out. You got Marshawn Lattimore, who's now in D.C. with the Commanders. You've got some, Paulson Adebo, I think, was there. Maybe, I don't know. Paulson Adebo seems to be new, so he may not have been there. But you got some people that are still there from when you were there. I get it. It's familiar. It's like, it's not home to you. Houston is home. But Ben Johnson going to the Chicago Bears. Don't know that that's ever happened before. And it probably has some, like, long time ago, some obscure situation that was never really highlighted, or because it was not within, the Lions organization, we didn't really pay attention to it or care about it. I just don't want to see it happen. I don't want to see it happen because you never want success for the Chicago Bears. You never want success for the Green Bay Packers. You never want success for the Minnesota Vikings. You just don't want the success for them because they're in your division. And there's no way that if you're a fan of Ben Johnson, that you can want success for him in Chicago. Like, you can't, because it's like cutting off your nose to spite your face. If you want success for Ben Johnson in Chicago, all right, Robert Griffin. If you want success for Ben Johnson in Chicago, then that means that you can't have both things. You can't have Ben Johnson be successful in Chicago and the Detroit Lions be successful, because they're in the division. They're directly against each other. The only thing that you could say for Ben Johnson is, I hope every time we play the Bears, they lose, but then I hope they do well against every other team. But you never want them to do well because they're in your division. Them winning other games puts stress on you. It's just not possible. I don't know. So in the chat, tell me what you think. Again, if you're in the chat and you haven't popped in and say, what up, though, make sure you subscribe and just come on in and say, what up, though. I know everyone is enjoying friends and family right now. We came to give you a show and to make sure that you're entertained, right? So we got almost 300 views here, which is fantastic. Just make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you let everybody know what's going on here. Let me see how many likes. How many likes do we have? I got to shrink my window down here. All right, there we go. The window was too tall, not too wide. That was the issue that we were having. All right. Come on now. We got 37 viewers in here right now. We only got 8 likes. Come on now. Smash that like button. Subscribe. Let everybody know what's going on. Share it. Let them know that the Motor City Cats are back at it. Come on in. Let's have a conversation before we shut it down here. I mean, like I said, on the Lions front, there's not really a whole lot of news going along today. Jared Goff and Zadarius Smith are chasing lucrative contract bonuses. I know they're I don't know if there are still people. That's another question. That's another. I feel like Glorilla. It's another question. I was confused. Is anybody still upset at Jared Goff's contract? Who we gonna cut? When? Are you talking about the thumbnail? Because this is a person we've already cut. David Long Jr. David Long Jr. has been cut, and he's also been he was waived. Sorry, not cut. Can't get cut at this point in the season, but he was waived, and then he was already claimed on waivers by his former team, the Tennessee Titans. So, Jalen Reeves-Maybin will probably play against the San Francisco 49ers. Anzo also could be, and that's something that I didn't say earlier, he could be activated from injured reserve this week. Because remember, if he wasn't activated until I think it was Wednesday, but he had been practicing for the entire week. So he was activated on Wednesday, made questionable to start the game or to play in the game versus the Chicago Bears, and started. He was out there the first play, getting that pressure on Caleb Williams. No problem, Brent. So that's also the other question. Is anyone still upset about the Jared Goff contract? Because in this article by the doc, John Macaron, and I haven't gotten him in here on this show. I do need to get him here on this show. He was on the other show once, but that was just not a great place to be. So I need to get him here on this show. Very toxic environment. So he says the Detroit Lions are making the final push towards their goal of winning the NFC North division and earning a number one seed all throughout the NFL playoffs. Now, this is a point that I wanted to, and now since we're talking about division winning the North, the Houston Texans won their division at 9-6. The Houston Texans won their division at 9-6. We are currently 13-2 and have not yet won our division. And now we want to make it even harder by allowing Ben Johnson to go. I know it is not in Dan Campbell's nature. But Dan, listen to me. Listen to me, Dan. You need to block this situation with Ben Johnson. You need to put the kibosh on it. Okay? You need to tell Ben Johnson, sit down. Okay? Ben, you going to get your head coaching opportunity. But if you don't sit your ass down somewhere on this Chicago Bears stuff, come on, Ben. What you thinking? We want to make it more difficult in the NFC North? That's right. That is nuts, Harpazzo. We are 13-2 and haven't won our division. And the damn 9-6 Texans won their division and then turn around and lost 31-2 after you won your division last week by losing. You lost and still clinched your division, and then you turn around and lost 31-2? 2 points? 2 points? I mean, the Texans told you everything that you needed to know when they had 5 interceptions and still lost the game. I mean, they told you everything they needed to know. Harpazzo says Ben Johnson ain't going nowhere. I just hope he ain't going to the Chicago Bears because, as I said, their whole podcast infrastructure, their whole media, they think Ben Johnson's coming. They figure like it's a foregone conclusion You know, they're using terms like when he gets here, right? We want this to happen, but he's not here yet. What you mean he's not here yet? Yet means that you're expecting something to happen. I don't expect it to happen. But if it does happen, we got a problem on our hands. Ben Johnson would be a traitor. In my eyes, in my book. Oh, since we're talking, I almost let this one slip by. But since we're talking about the Houston Texans, because they just recently lost 31-2. During the broadcast, I don't know if it was Greg Olsen or his partner. They were talking about D'Amico Ryans bringing in guys who love and embrace the special teams role. And they're like, yeah, like Jeff Okudah, he embraced the special teams role, even though he was a former number 3 overall pick. You know, he's embracing the special teams role because he wants to continue getting NFL money. Whether that is veterans minimum money, which is like $500,000 for the year, $512 or something like that. He wants to continue getting that because I'm going to tell you what, I would love to be in the NFL. I would love to have had a 10-year NFL career collecting veterans minimum money. Okay? Because at one point, that's $5 million that you've made over a 10-year period. And if you know that you're only making veterans minimum money, then you are probably going to be really smart with how you invest. You're going to probably be really smart with, you know, trying to start your own businesses and keeping that cash flow going. Okay? So shout out to Jeff Okudah, as I never have anything good to say about Jeff Okudah. But shout out to Jeff Okudah for being smart and for taking that NFL money. And it doesn't matter if it's a veterans minimum contract. It doesn't matter if he's getting $1 million a year or $2 million, whatever he's getting. Shout out to him for humbling himself, because when he came here, and you saw it when he was getting chewed out on the sidelines by Aubrey Pleasant, that he just kept talking back and he kept snapping back, and Aubrey just blew up at him. Like he blew his top. Okay? And there was no coming back from that. Shout out to Jeff Okudah for understanding his situation and understanding that if he wants to stay in the NFL, getting NFL money, he's going to have to be a special teams player for his career. He is never going to be a starting cornerback in the NFL again. If he finds himself starting, that means that cornerback room is completely decimated. Think Detroit Lions last season. Okay? Think Detroit Lions last season. That is what Jeff Okudah will have to find himself in if he's going to be a starting corner in the NFL. He'll be starting because he's the last depth player available. Harpazo says Bears need to be hibernating or keep their mouth shut. Bears fans are so annoying, especially their media. Yeah, that is the annoying part, bro. Like 100%. It's so annoying. Ben Johnson is our coach. He's ours. Shut up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, shut it up, bro. They're just fawning over Ben Johnson. Oh, Ben Johnson with Caleb Williams. Listen, bro. He ain't available yet. Stop it. Okay? Y'all don't have anything to get ready for. Y'all don't have anything to prepare for except for Cancun. So go cover DJ Moore and Caleb Williams in Cancun. That's what y'all need to do. Go ahead and cover them. Other than that, you know, keep the mouth on shut. All right. So let me get back to this. Jared Goff, the number 1 seed. Like I said, we trying to get the number 1 seed and the division. shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs, who clinched the number 1 seed today. They did look mighty good. They looked better than what they've looked most of the season. And I don't know if that was just because the Pittsburgh Steelers are in a tailspin right now. But I think it was a combination of both. I mean, when Patrick Mahomes is getting the ball out of his hands in 0.5 seconds and Travis Kelce is already 5-10 yards down the field, that is a problem. That is a problem. Okay? And it's not a problem that the pass rush can fix. It's not a problem that TJ Watt could fix or Hightower. None of them, because none of them were sniffing Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes was getting the ball out of his hands in 0.5 seconds. And there were people that were down the field more than 5 yards. So that, I don't know what happened there. But the Chiefs did look good. The Chiefs look scary. They look dangerous. The Baltimore Ravens, my God, they look freaking scary and dangerous. And then you got the Buffalo Bills. I really believe that the AFC Championship game will come back down to Baltimore, KC. And I'm going to tell you 100%, I love Lamar Jackson. The only way I want Lamar Jackson to win the AFC Championship game is if the Detroit Lions did not win the NFC Championship game, because I do not want to see Lamar Jackson in the Super Bowl. I do not. Not at all. I had a healthy fear of Josh Allen. I'm healthily terrified of Lamar Jackson. I'm just going to tell you that much right now. All right. So for 2 members of the roster, there are contract bonuses they can work towards that would add monies to their bank account. ESPN's Ben Baby. What kind of name is that? I don't know. Is that his real name? Ben Baby? It's Ben Baby, baby. ESPN's Ben Baby looked up several incentives that were on the line for several NFL players, with data being gathered by the roster management system. Jared Goff is having a career season and has been in the MVP conversation due to leading his team to a 13-2 record. If the Lions are able to win the Super Bowl and the 30-year-old has played in 50% of offensive snaps, Goff's 2028 base salary increases by $1 million. 2028. We're going to have a talk about that. Okay? We're going to have a talk about that. All right. On the one of the moves made by General Manager Brad Holmes to bolster the defense was trading for veteran defensive end Zadarius Smith. Unfortunately, Marcus Davenport is out for the remainder of the season, and the team moved on from James Houston. According to ESPN, Smith needs 2 more sacks to reach 10 for the season and earn $250,000. If he can somehow get 4 more, the Lions will pay him a $500,000 bonus. If he can hit either incentive, he'll get an additional $250,000 for the Lions clinching a playoff berth. All right. Now, we wonder so many times about contracts in the NFL. We wonder how, and this is why I say things like the salary cap is not real. Is the salary cap real? Yes. Is the salary cap real? No. I believe that it is real for some teams and it is not real for other teams. I believe the teams that it is real for are the teams like the New Orleans Saints. I think just this season, you look when the off season came and they were 41 million over the cap or something crazy like this. They're not equipped. I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man. Okay, they're not equipped with the proper capologists or capologist if it's just one. I think you need an entire department of capologists so to make sure that everyone crosses their T's and dots their I's. they're not properly equipped with hiding money. What do I mean by hiding money? I'm not going to pretend that I know how I'm not going to pretend that I know how an NFL contract is structured. But what I will say is this. Money is hidden all over the contract. And there are certain incentives that players have, which they probably will never hit. And then there are others that they will hit. But when you say a person is making, and I keep going back to the Matthew Stafford contract. When he got to LA, his entire, I think it was, how much was his salary hit? Or how much did he have left on his salary? It was something like $60 million. Okay. That was going to hit. That was going to be his cap hit or something. That entire cap hit got converted to a signing bonus. So when he signed his extension or signed with, I think it was an extension or new deal or whatever with the Los Angeles Rams, his salary cap hit for that year that they won the Super Bowl was $1 million. Was he on a rookie deal? No. I think at that point he was a 12-year veteran, right? He was in Detroit for 12 years, so 13 years going into his 13th season. He wasn't on a rookie deal. Rookie deals don't last that long. So how in the hell did you have a quarterback of that caliber, whatever the caliber that you think it's going to be, or that you think it is, making $1 million? Well, he didn't make $1 million. He made $1 million against your cap. So let's say you have $50 million in cap space. If you're going to pay Matthew Stafford $50 million or $60 million that year, well, then what's the issue? You have no more cap space. You're actually $10 million over. No, you're not. You're not. Because that signing bonus, for whatever reason, doesn't count against the cap. And then your cap hit is only $1 million. So if you came in with $50 million in cap space, you now have $49 million. So when you see things like that, and you see things like Jared Goff has to hit these incentives, and if he hits these incentives, his base salary in 3 years will go up by $1 million. In 3 years, something that he does in 2024-25 is going to affect something that happens 3 years later. That is how the money is moved in these NFL contracts. So if you were a person, oh, what's going on, J-Rod? What's up, my guy? Glad you found me. If you are a person that was up in arms about any of these contracts, take heart in understanding that Brad Holmes has the capologists to do all the things that we need to do. So this is why I say things like, make sure you re-sign Carlton Davis. Make sure you pick up Jamo's 5th-year option. Go ahead, re-sign Hutch whenever you want to give him his extension. Because it don't freaking matter. The salary cap is not real. Not for the Detroit Lions, it's not. not this version of the Detroit Lions. Back during the Quinn Trisha era, back during the Martin Mayhew years, back during the Millen era, yeah, the salary cap was real. Just think, remember when they signed Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, and Penei Sewell in the same offseason when they extended them and had more cap and more room under the cap than they had when they came into the offseason. The Detroit Lions are a team just like many other teams, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they had Tom Brady. They are that type of team now that make the salary cap a figment of your imagination. What up, though, J. Rod? How have you been, my guy? Have you missed me? Have you missed me? I've been here the whole time. You found me at the tail end. I wish Harpazo, were you here yesterday? Did you catch any of the debate that we were having about the quarterbacks? Because like I said, that one was like a 3-hour show. We were going in. We were going in. Like it was me against like 4 people in the chat. Hold on, what is it? 1, 2, 3. No, 3 in particular. But it was all in good fun. We had a good time, man. No hard feelings were had. I had my point. They had their points. I was right. They were wrong. I mean, if you're new here, if you're old here, call me Chef. If you're new here, call me MCDP. You know what I'm saying? Motor City Don P. That's all. People in the chat will get it. I haven't had anyone who was new ever ask anyone who was old why they're calling me Chef. So it's all good. Basically, in a nutshell, I was talking about how the quarterback lines have been blurred between what they are now and what they used to be back in the day. You know, the mobile quarterback, it's proven. It's proven right now. And I wanted to pull it up, and I forgot because I was in the car. That play before Lamar Jackson went out due to beating their ass. Before Lamar Jackson, usually you know how people go out due to injury. Lamar Jackson went out due to BTA. Okay? Lamar Jackson went into the BTA tent. Okay? Not the blue medical tent, the BTA tent. All right? When he threw that pass to Isaiah Likely and he held onto the ball for 7-8 seconds and juked this one and juked that one and pirouetted and stepped backwards and dashed to the side and threw a perfect pass to someone who uncovered in the end zone. That's what people want to see. That's what NFL teams want. If you're saying that you wouldn't want Lamar Jackson on your team if you had the realistic opportunity, I'd say that you don't. Look, you go ahead, grab that new information, and you change your opinion. That's all I would say. So J Rod says, hey y'all, smash that like button, share, subscribe, demand 313 Motor City. We need to get this guy out there. My favorite. I am glad I'm your favorite, J Rod. You're one of my favorite chat members. And now that you're here and you found me, you can be one of my favorite chat members again. Blue Lightning, no. Did you see him on the St. Brown Brothers podcast? I have to watch it. I was gonna watch it today, but the games were on, so I was like, yeah, I'll watch it after the games. Jared Goff is Vanilla Vic lately, and that was another thing I said. We went through all of the teams, okay? Because I was like, I got to a point where when people were trying to tell me, look, this isn't the way that the NFL is going, and I was like, well, look, let's just go through the teams. Went through every team, and basically the only team that you would say has a quarterback who is not considered mobile right now. Okay, and that's with the injury to Derek Carr, and Derek Carr got injured running. So I don't know what he was like. He literally ran and tried to jump over a human being. Okay, that was a very athletic play that he was trying to make, and you don't try to make that play without faith in your athleticism, right? So even Derek Carr, the only team that you would say right now that doesn't have a mobile quarterback is the Detroit Lions. But he's Vanilla Vickin, as I said. He's Vanilla Vickin. Salty pork chops. What up, though, my guy? Well, this is where I'm at, buddy. This is where I'm at. So Detroit pork chops is back. J-Rod is back. Hey, we getting the gang back together. Who is that? Patches O'Hallahan. O'Houlihan. That's it. That's him this year. It's Vanilla Vic. But yeah, so that's the thing. We went through every team, and it was Jared Goff was the most unathletic or the most non-mobile, but he's been doing it this year. So he's been, and this is something that Ben Johnson has asked him to do to get there. Salty pork chops. The only night I don't do it is Thursday, because as you know, Thursday is my Friday. Thursday night is my Friday, but same time, 7 p.m. Eastern. And my Friday schedule just doesn't permit. Like, I could do it, but then it would be like every other Thursday, which would be weird, So I just say, all right. So Monday through Wednesday, off Thursday, I do Friday, and then obviously all of the games, whether it's Monday night football, whether it's Sunday night football or Sunday or Thursday night football, whatever the case may be, I will be live streaming all of those games. So, yes. Was underdog movie Dodgeball? Dodgeball is a good, do you mean underrated movie? It is very underrated. It is a good movie. Sometimes you just want to get one of those silly movies out, right? Just, it's like, it's a comedy. It's not super duper like laugh out loud funny, but it's just kind of like corny funny, and it's fun to watch. Salty pork chops. You are a very good guesser, my friend. You are a very good guesser. And I'll just say to you that my road is high. I like driving up there, above the clouds. No, but yes, both. People say that Dave Chappelle likes to punch down. They could never say that about me. Max Crosby was saying that he's not going anywhere, and Detroit Cats got over him, and now he's talking about going somewhere. He needs to say what he means and mean what he's saying. So here's what I'll say about yeah, there's no drama with me and Derek. There's drama elsewhere, but me and Derek are good. And the funny thing is, we never were before because we never had any contact. So it wasn't. I didn't know him. He didn't know, like he said something about me apparently during his podcast, and I didn't see it, and he reached out to me and he apologized for it, and the rest is history. So here's the thing about Max Crosby. Max Crosby probably thought that he had more power to fix the situation than he did. He probably thought in his mind, right, that if I stay here and I pledge my allegiance, something is going to happen. And then once he found out that it wasn't going to happen, and then once his team beat the Jaguars and moved into, what are they now? Third? The pick number 3, you've missed out on Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. You need a quarterback. Max Crosby wasn't playing in that game. I think he was out for the season. I don't want him to come home eventually. I want him to come home while he's still available. While he's still dominant, I could say, right? That's when I want Max Crosby to come home. Derek said he wasn't being cool. He's got room on his ass to tattoo. Dude, he's got so many tattoos. How do you know he doesn't already have a Lions one? I mean, it could be lost in the sauce there somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, bruh. I guess he went to his tattoo artist and was like, my body is your canvas. Do what you will. You know what I'm saying? He's got all the tattoos. Oh, yeah. He said he wasn't being cool towards me. Yeah, but nah. Like I said, he apologized to me, and then we chop it up. Yeah, you have to just guess because you never know, bro. That dude's got all the tattoos, like all of the tattoos. I think he's completely run out of space. The only he's got him up to his neck, right? So the only place he has left to go is up on the face, or he can cut all his hair off and get his head tattooed, and then he run around with that. What's TMI? FYI. Tattoo on your butt. But yeah, so that was that. Like I said, that was the debate, and then you look at Lamar Jackson, with everyone saying that Lamar is like, when you put their numbers together and you go, well, Josh Allen is going to be the MVP. I don't know how. Lamar has better numbers. Their record is probably going. I have to look at who they're gonna who the Ravens play next week, but it doesn't matter because they need to win that game to win the division. They're already in the playoffs. Obviously, you want to win the division and have a home playoff game. If you're going to play at home, right? So whoever the Ravens are playing, I think, no, they don't have Cincy. Cincy is playing the Steelers. So I don't remember who the Ravens are playing. But, come on, man. This is the new NFL. Lone Spoon says, what up, though? Didn't know you were streaming today. Oh, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. Like I said, I just wanted to come and, hang out and give y'all a show. And, it is what it is. I'm over here. It's like stuff is dead. So just like I went out to work this morning and it's like the streets are dead. You know what I'm saying? did a little bit, and just came on home. That's right, Lone Spoon. I've been saying this, They're not in the chat. They're concurrent viewers. Some of them may not be subscribed, and some of them may just be like subscribers that they're with friends and family right now, so they just left it on to give me the view, and just didn't hit the like button, and they're away from their computers or their phones, which I get it. So just like Lone Spoon said, Brent. So I said rooting, and he said he's never gonna cheer for them, and I guess they're the same thing, but in order to make them not the same thing, we'll just say we want the Green Bay Packers to beat the Minnesota Vikings, and there's not going to be any cheers. Green Bay scores a touchdown to go ahead. It's not going to be like, yes. It's just going to be like, okay, I respect it. I respect that. You respect. But right now, and I've said this before, I don't know that Green Bay is motivated. I don't know. It's they might be in cahoots. Yes, sir, J-Rod. Somehow someone knows he has room on his ass. Harpazo, Broski is probably watching, but he's not going to say anything because his little bears are biting the big one. I have not seen Broski since 35-14 Titans in the Titans game. 35-14 Titans, but 35-14 in the Titans game. He was like, y'all got this one. This is ridiculous. And he left. Haven't seen him since. Now, that's a question, though. If they tie, what happens? Do they have to simply win? Is a tie the same as a loss in this situation? I mean, I would expect that it is, but I don't know. What up, though, Lion Syndicate? No, it was nothing bad. There was nothing bad. But if y'all are if you guys are having questions in the chat, I'm sure Derek will answer them for you. Lone Spoon for who? What do you mean? Said you two should duo. Oh, I'm sure we'll hop on a stream together. I'm sure we will. That's probably in the offing. but that's something that we have to like plan out and things of that nature. But nah, that's probably gonna happen. No, a tie is not just as good. All right, so we need a straight out win from Minnesota. I mean, no. Sorry. That's not what I meant. We need a straight out win from Green Bay. We just hanging right now. Had salty pork chops just found me today. J-Rod16 just found me today. So, I mean, the algorithm is getting out there. The algorithm is putting your boy out there. We got 669 views on this one. We doing a little bit, but 672 and 21 likes. Come on now. We got to get them likes up, baby. So Harpazo says, wouldn't a tie be as good as a loss? It's not as good of a record. I don't know that. I think what we're saying is that a tie is not just going to put things out of reach. If Green Bay beats Minnesota, then the number 1 seed and the NFC North are out of reach completely for Minnesota. So that would mean that week 18 wouldn't matter to us. If they tie, it could still matter. Well, okay, so in the division, they would be 4-1-1 if they were to beat us, right? So if they tied Green Bay right now, they would be 3-0-1. Or no. Wait. They're 4-0 they're 4-1 in the division. Yes? So they would be 4-1-1. My math is off. Hold on. Minnesota has beat Chicago twice. Right? That makes them 2-0. They've beat Minnesota. They've beat Green Bay once. That makes them 3-0. They lost to us. That makes them 3-1. So yes, if they were to tie Green Bay, they would be 3-1-1. And then if they were to then beat us, they would be 4-1-1 in the division, while we would be 5-1, which would still make, I don't know. I feel like a tie doesn't help them. You know what I mean? Max Crosby, bring him home. And apparently get him to tattoo a lion on his ass. Pause. Right now we are in the division lead. Yes. Because we're 5-0. So we need to beat Minnesota to be a perfect 6-0. But like I said, if we beat San Francisco, and we will know before our San Francisco game, we will know if Green Bay has beat Minnesota. If Green Bay has already beat Minnesota before we take the field on Monday night, all we need to do is beat San Francisco, and it doesn't matter what happens in Week 18. Week 18 is, it's a Hendon Hooker game at that point. And I just hope, the only thing that I would hope is that Dan doesn't do the pride thing and be like, we want to sweep the division, because it don't matter. Like, if Minnesota goes into a game where it doesn't matter, I think they rest their starters too, because they won't have that bye week. It's just not going to happen. So the Week 18 game could be a bye week for them, and they're just playing their backups. No need to see for proof. No, we don't need to see. So you're saying now that a tie is just as good as a loss? Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because their record cannot be, but I mean their overall record, they're 13-2, right? If they tied, they'd be 13-1-2. We are, and then if we beat San Francisco, we would be 14-2. So then they would be 14-1-2 if they were to beat us. You know what I'm saying? So but I do believe that they wouldn't be able to win, because they would have a tie game. But we'd be 14-3. That would be the thing. So I don't know. It's a half a game, but the Vikings can't finish tied to us. No, they can't. That's not possible. Actually, in the division they could. If they beat Green Bay, they would be 4-1 in the division. And then if they were to, and I don't like saying this, I'm just saying that, I don't think that the Vikings are going to beat us. I'm just saying, if they did turn around and beat us, then we would both be 5-1 in the division. And then the records would be respectively 14-3 and 15-2. Who did the Vikings lose to, though? But I mean, this is what happens, though. If that happens, where we both beat our teams, our opponents next week, and then they come into Detroit and win, they have the number 1 seed, they win the division, and we go to the number 5 seed, and we go on the road during the wild card, which is wild card. We are not 6-0 in the division already because we haven't played them yet. We are 5-0 in the division. Remember, there's 6 total divisional games. We've swept the Bears, we've swept the Packers, and we've beat the Vikings once in Minnesota. They're coming to Detroit in week 18 for our 6th division game. If we don't beat them in week 18, if they beat the Packers and we beat the 49ers, week 18 is for the division and the number 1 seed. That's what week 18 is for. This is why we need the Packers to win, so that that week 18 completely doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant to us. Because win, lose, or draw in week 18, we've already locked up the number 1 seed, and you're going to see Hendon Hooker. We can't already be 6-0 until it happens. I get your mindset. I understand what you're saying, but I don't even care. I want to not care about week 18. That is what I want to do. I want to say, okay, Hendon Hooker, there you go. It's your game. Go ahead, do 4 quarters, ball out. Do whatever you want, Salty Pork Shot says, I'm praying for Green Bay this week. I don't want to see Justin Jefferson running around all day. Oh, man, Justin Jefferson, bro. Justin Jefferson. Celine says, we're winning week 18 with Hendon and 3rd string. Probably, you know why? Because that's why I'm saying, if Hendon Hooker is in week 18, you're going to see Nick Mullins on the other side. Or Pick Mullins, as I like to call him. J-Rod says, I won my 13-week guaranteed, looking for the other half of the bet, 15-2 first seed made in August. How much will you win if you cash that out? If you cash that out, make sure you buy me a coffee. By the way, guys, now that you're here, everyone is here. If you do want to support the channel until I get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going the Buy Me a Coffee route. So the Buy Me a Coffee link is in the description of all of my videos and all of my live streams. So if you do want to support the channel monetarily, you do not have to do that. If that's just something that you're into, that's something that you like to do, you can go ahead, smash that link. And just become a supporter of the channel. Salty Pork Chop says, also, if you look at the current playoff tree, the number 2 seed would be good for us. We can't get the number 2 seed. It's either 1 or 5. That's where we're at right now. We would end up playing teams that we haven't played yet: Philly and Washington, Vice, Los Angeles, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, and Minnesota. Yeah, but we can't get number 2. That's the same scenario that would happen. That's what we want. I unfortunately heard Broski made a lot of bets that he has lost and now is hibernating, and some are very upset. Again, rumor has it. Teams we needed to get that win for us this season have sucked besides Washington. I hope Packers win, but they're going to blow, and we're going to have to go Thanos and do it ourselves. Dude, I don't have any faith in the Packers. The only faith that you can have in the Packers is that they are going into a divisional opponent's house, where that same divisional opponent came in their house and applied the BTA. Okay? Jordan Love threw 3 picks that game. That was BTA applied. 100%. Okay? They want to get their get back. That is the only faith that you can have in the Packers. Because I think as far as seeding, they're locked in to whatever. What are the Packers? Hold on. Let me pull this up. Cause we speculating. All right, NFC playoff picture right now. It was up there on the screen while I was watching the Ravens just beat the brakes off of whatchamacallit. Okay. So the NFC playoff picture, I don't know why. Okay. Let's get the NFC. All right. So currently the Lions are number 1. The Eagles are number 2. I don't think that the Eagles can be moved from there because they've already clinched their division. Okay? No, actually they haven't. But the number 2 seed will be for the winner of that division. So this is why I said we cannot get that division. We can't get the number 2 seed. The Vikings are number 5. The Packers are number 6. I believe the Packers are locked into number 6 because they've already punched their ticket to the all that. They didn't punch nothing to the Super Bowl. They've punched their ticket to the postseason. So right now, 3 NFC North teams are already in the playoffs regardless of what happens. Okay? Regardless of what happens with the Packers and the Vikings and the Lions, it doesn't matter. The Lions and the 49ers were already in the playoffs. Okay? Rams are currently number 3. Falcons are number 4. The Commanders are number 7. Okay? So those are your 7 playoff teams right now. There is I don't know if there's still a possibility. There has to be a bunch of stuff that happens for Seattle to go ahead and win their division over the Rams. I think the Rams have to lose on Sunday, and then they have to lose the last week of the season to Seattle, and then some other things have to happen. So that's what we got right now, though. Let's see. If we win and the Vikings lose this week, we will put in Hendon Hooker and finish tied, but in first place. So yeah, if we win this week and the Vikings lose, nothing matters. It doesn't matter. It's just we've locked up the number 1 seed, just like the Chiefs did today. Right? So the Chiefs, this is the same week, right? This is week what? 17 now. So the Chiefs just played their week 17 game. they've locked up their division. They've locked up the number 1 seed. So next week, week 18, they don't have to do anything. Mahomes doesn't have to play. None of them have to play. Don't bet what you can't afford, and don't say it you can't back up. I've had Fudge Packer fans say they hope we go to the Niners and get injured. I guess that's the only way they think they have a chance to win. I mean, you are a low quality person if you are like if you're rooting for people to get injured. You know what I mean? Like, I root for people not to play well. If someone is out of the game due to injury, and they're like an important player, I'm happy that they're out. I'm not happy that they're injured. I'm just happy that they're not available to play against our team. That's all. 4 division winners are 1 through 4. We can only get 1 or 5. That's correct. We stomped the brakes off the 49ers. The Vikings, nope, no chance. Oops. Harpazo says his cat has to scat. Take care, everyone. Great show, Chef. All right, Harpazo, we will see you next time. Like I said, I will not be here tomorrow. My Fridays and your Thursdays don't permit. I am here Monday through Wednesday. I'm off on Thursday, and I'm here Friday and all game days. So 4 days a week for streaming, but pretty much 5 days a week. Okay, 4 days a week for the pod, 5 days a week live streaming because of game weeks. I'm going to try again. I've reached out to Easy. I have to see what he says. I'm going to try to do the breakdown game with Easy on Saturday. That's what I'm shooting for. Because obviously I knew he wouldn't be here today. They're not working today, but Saturday is the day that I would like to do it. If he's not available for Saturday, then I will be doing the breakdown game on Friday by myself. How about don't bet with internet trolls you don't know who they really are and can't collect from and get mad when they don't pay? Yeah, I mean, it's complete anonymity. You know, and even if it's not complete anonymity, even if you made a bet with me and I didn't pay, you know, like that's, you still can't get to me. So I don't bet anyway, but oh yeah. So J Rod says, smash that like button, y'all. Motor City Don P, share, subscribe. Yes. Please do that. All right, guys. I'm gonna end this on a high note. If you guys have any more questions, we can answer those and chop it up a little bit. If not, then you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. And like I said, hope to see you guys on Friday. The new guys that came in are the old guys, and now you know where I am and you know my schedule. So hopefully we will see you next time. All right. Take care, everyone. J Rod, you too. Breaking news, everybody. It's not breaking news. It's the same old news. The Motor City Cats back at it. Came to give you stats and not static. And I can't tell you what to do, but if you want to take my advice, make sure you keep your Lions news